It's happening? Are you doing it? It's happening? Cool. Are you a good little dude? Are you a good little dude? Do you have a good little dude face? Yeah. Okay. Boom! There we are. Hi, everybody. All right, little evening show. Feeling good. Got the lawn mowed. Did lunch with the aunt. Had burgers. I'm a very satisfied young man right now. So, the market finally, like midday, they're like, wait a minute, bond yields are really high. This ain't good. And then, little like flash crash, dropped down 80 points or whatever. And the Dow was down 770 points at one point in time. Yeah, like nothing is good. Nothing. And the market's been like, oh, we're doing okay for a month. We got recession warning indicators all over the place. In 2023, 20-year and 30 years are above 5% for the bonds. But then they cut 75 basis points from interest rates, and the bonds should be going down. But they are not going down. They're going up. Why? Because no one wants our debt. Not only that, no one wants our debt, and now we've got Congress trying to pass a budget resolution that will add another $4.5 trillion to our deficit, which no one wants. No one wants our debt. Moody's cut our bond rating, our debt rating, and no one wants it, man. Hey, Jason Blackwell sent a little triangle. I still have no idea what triangles mean, but all right. It's silly. We are in silly zone. It's silly willy time. Like, if you earn $20,000 a year, your taxes are going up. You are well below poverty wage. You don't make enough money to rent an apartment in any city in America. Anywhere. You cannot rent a studio apartment on $20,000 a year anywhere in America. You do not qualify. And you probably can't afford it. But your taxes are going to go up. While someone who makes $400,000 or more, their taxes are going to go down. If you own your own private tanning bed, you're now going to get a tax cut. You could just step outside like a normal person to get tan. But no, you're going to use a whole bunch of electricity, lie in a tanning bed, cook your skin into shoe leather, and you get a tax cut for it. But if you make $20,000 a year, which is less than buying a tanning bed, your taxes are going up. And we're going to increase the deficit by $4.5 trillion while cutting $800 billion from Medicaid. So we put 10 to 15 million people out of insurance. They have no access to health care while shutting down rural hospitals across the entire country. The crazy thing is, and this is what blows my mind the most, is that the policies coming out that are causing the bonds to go up, they're causing people to get kicked from Medicaid, they're causing the hospitals to shut down, right? They're causing farmers to lose their customers and lose their workers. Like, all these policies are hitting Trump voters the hardest. If you're a Trump voter in Nebraska, Alabama, Kentucky, Missouri, right? You're getting hammered so hard by these policies that you could very well die. You might die as a result of these budget passing, Doge cuts, etc. And somehow you're still like, woo, Trump, yay, woohoo, woohoo, woo. Several EF4 tornadoes, possibly EF5s, ripped through the South this week. Just absolutely obliterated St. Louis County, swatches of Kentucky, Tennessee, Illinois. Fires are raging in Minnesota. Tornadoes, the EF4s just touched down Mississippi today. And the weather forecasters in these regions, they got fired. So there's no one really telling you like, hey, tornado warning happening now. They're not there. You turn to the weather station, you get your little mobile radio because you have an emergency kit. You're like, well, I'll turn to the weather station. It'll tell me the things because the phone lines are down. And you get like basically, boo, we're sorry. This station is no longer broadcasting. Like, oh, shit. So you have no idea. So 30 people get killed. FEMA is not responding to anything. No federal disaster areas have been declared. The governors in these places are like, please help us. And it's just silence from the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA. You voted for this, bro. This is what you get when you take the government and you just grind it into powder and go, whew. No one ever realizes how dependent they are on the services our society provides. They all think that they're just these like independent heroes. I can do it myself. I don't need anybody's help. Fuck you, pull yourself by bootstraps. And then Mother Nature goes, and they're like, help me. I'm broken and poor. And then just hear silence after that because they voted to destroy all this stuff. It's pretty poetic. I don't wish the terribleness on everyone, but I understand it. You dorks voted for this, and you're getting it. And I can't help you because I'm not in power. You put some people in power who want you to die. They want you to die horrible, horrific deaths. And there we are. Like, oh well. Such is life. Tough tits. That's where we are. So anyway, what's I been there today? So about 660,000, 640,000 GME shares right at the end of the day. Bulk $17 million order. Fantastic. What else do we have? I already forgot what everything I put in. I always forget what I put into the description as well. What I'm going to talk about today, and then it just completely leaves my mind right at the top of the show. But anyway, it's Wednesday. It's outside's lovely. I got the lawn mowed, so that's a plus. Justin was first. Kelly Reed. Oh wait, I can't do the first and seconds. I haven't done the intro yet. Bam. Okay, turn that off. I'm getting so good. I think it might be like a 10 show streak going on here. All right, Justin first. Kelly Reed second. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, HW. TD chief economist says Canada is entering a recession, will soon bleed 100,000 more jobs. Plus, with housing going down, will lead Canada to a further decline into severe recession territory. Yeah. The good thing about Canada is that Canada is signing some pretty substantial trade deals with other countries. And like not having trade with the U.S. will hurt in the near term, but you are definitely expanding your global reach. You do need housing to go down, though. You need housing probably in Canada probably be cut by 50%. And you also need, when housing gets cut by that much, you also need to do something about foreign buyers of your residential real estate, because foreign buyers should not be allowed to buy up as much of your real estate as they do and then not occupy it or rent it or do anything with it. They just got to sort of buy it and hold it as if they're holding bonds or stocks or anything else. So you need to de-incentivize folks. If you're going to have a house empty, maybe charge them a fortune for that house being empty, right? Something. Lone Wolf got in there. Lone Wolf didn't really say anything, just has the crown. Says it before. One BBYQ payout. I could pay for school with it. If I'm lucky, I could buy another home somewhere nicer. I don't know, this week? 2? Will something happen week 3? Why not 3? I don't know. But I really, 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 really want it to happen. There's lots of folks now thinking that what you'll get out of the bonds are IEP shares. I mean, I'm okay with that. That, gets me 15,000 IEP shares, which would net me like, what, $30,000 a year? I'm okay with that. That's not so bad. That's, that's something that can add to the that's enough to like take half the year off for me anyway. I'm okay with that. Ron Rose, Goose Fraba, indeed. Dead Bass. If you were to consider RFK Jr.'s swim session a Naked Gun enactment, What naked gun scene would he be most likely to reenact next? I know that if RFK were to be in a Naked Gun movie, he would think that he's Leslie Nielsen. He is not Leslie Nielsen. He is Nordberg. He is O.J. Simpson. And he would reenact all the O.J. Simpson things, like being in traction, giant afro, flying down the stairs of the stadium and just launching onto the field. He is Nordberg. He's a klutzy weirdo and a sexual predator. Yeah, so he's Nordberg. So, which scene would he reenact next? I think he'll be launching onto the field of a stadium, somehow bumbling himself over the rail and just. That seems pretty logical to me. The Files of Police Squad. Ron Rose should have taken the blue pill. Yeah, Juice Mammy, Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac going public will be a disaster. Ninja loans are back. Yeah, so Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have been under conservatorship. They're profitable. There is significant delinquencies going on right now with FHA loans. They're at the highest levels they've ever been. And so we got, Bill Pulte, little teeny tiny Bill Pulte. He is pushing to have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac set adrift into the realm of public trading, make them completely independent from the government. And we know what happens. We did that before, and then the entire housing market collapsed really, really hard. And then we had to scoop them back up and be like, it's okay, little buddy. We got this. We're just going to make sure that you don't do shitty things again. And then they're just going to do shitty things again because that's what they do. That's how they roll. Yeah. So anyway, Joshua Rooder. Hey, Houston. Subprime Crisis Part 2 incoming? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the house flippers were back. They're back. Then we got all the Airbnb people, and Airbnbs aren't renting anymore. So they're now trying to maybe I can do long-term rentals. But the long-term rentals are now going for way below what the mortgages were. Because, let's face it, you get a 4-bedroom townhouse in Branson, Missouri, or Pigeon Forge or something, right? And you're able to rent that thing out for $250 a night. So you're doing $7,000 a month, maybe, if you get a couple of nights in there that aren't booked, but it's mostly booked. So you're doing $7,000 a month with that kind of Airbnb, right? Suddenly, people stop traveling, right? They're sick of paying an extra $350 cleaning fee than having to do all the cleaning themselves. They're like, yeah, this fucking sucks. I'm going to go to a hotel. Or I'm just going to travel, period, because it's just too expensive. And now you're down to half bookings. You're booking 15 nights a week. So you're doing $3,000 maybe. Your price maybe came down a little bit. So maybe doing $3,000 a month. But your mortgage is $4,200. Before you were making, $2,800 a month profit off the house, covering your mortgage, everything. Now you're losing $1,200 a month. Uh-oh. Oh no. What do you do now? Well, you go, I'm going to rent it. I'll just find some full-time rentals. Oh shit, you're in a tourist zone. There are no full-time rentals. So you look in the market, and the folks who work in Pigeon Forge or Branson, Missouri, they're minimum wage workers. They're hotel maids. They're bartenders at local hotels. They're tchotchke sellers. They work at the gas station. They make $2,000 a month, whatever it may be. And they can't afford a $4,000 a month rent, $5,000 a month rent. So you're like, I'll take a loss on it. And you discover you're renting it all of a sudden for $2,500. And now you're losing close to $2,000 a month on this house. So you put up on the market. Oh, I'll sell it, right? You paid, $700,000 for this place. You put on the market for 710, hoping you just get a little bit of profit out of it, and it sits there, and it sits there, and it sits there, and it sits there, and it sits there. You knock it down to 700, it's still sitting there. You go to 650. Someone makes an offer at 625. Your real estate agent's like, no. I'll just tell them there's a whole bunch of offers. They got a counter offer. Then they put an offer in it at 550. And you're like, fuck, the bank's never going to approve this. I owe so much money on this thing. I have no equity built up. And before long, your 7 homes that you bought this way are all selling for fractions of what you paid for them. The bank's having to do short sales on everything. The market's flooding with everyone else's, and no one wants them. There's just too many. They were priced way too high, and no one can make use of them. And that's happening across the entire country right now. Airbnbs are just sucking the savings out of people's bank accounts at the moment. They're just these like I don't know, black holes of personal finance, and you're just not going to get, unless you happen to have bought your place for super cheap or for cash, right? These guys are doomed. And a lot of these folks, they're part of these little real estate investment groups. They might have 30 or 40 of them, and if you bought in 2020, great job, because people were going out and they were like, I can work from anywhere. I might as well pick a beach house in San Diego, right? And then all of a sudden, they just don't have the money to go travel anymore. The cash is all dried up. Their bank accounts are empty. Their 401ks are bouncing all over the place. They've got a lot of trepidation about the future. They don't want to fly because, well, there's not enough air traffic controllers and flights are getting fucked up and canceled everywhere. And you're now at the whim of a shitty economy. And so I think Airbnb groups, they're going to lead the charge for the flood of real estate that comes on the market. And then everyone else is going to follow suit. And it's going to bleed up from the south into everywhere else. Florida, you can go to places on the coast of Florida where hurricanes hit a year ago, and none of the damage has been touched. The houses are still collapsed. There's still like boats and yards and stuff that have never been moved because insurance companies aren't paying anything out. So the property values around there are plummeting. The houses that weren't destroyed, well, now they're in really sketchy neighborhoods where there's a lot of empty homes and a lot of stuff that still can get looted, and the meth heads are coming in, and you can't get insurance. So if another hurricane comes, you're fucked. So you're going to try and sell this house and put the onus onto somebody else. But then, if you need repairs done, all the undocumented immigrants who are doing the construction work, they're all gone. The tourism numbers have vanished because the Canadians aren't coming down anymore. The Northeasterners aren't coming down anymore. The students are deciding not to go to Florida schools because the Florida universities are, they're turning into garbage. The conventions are being canceled. The Europeans won't touch that place with a 10-foot pole. The Venezuelans are bailing because all of a sudden they got declared illegal, even though they were here on visas and refugee status, etc. Same thing with Haitians. Same thing with Cubans. Like we're dismantling so much of the economic drive in this country, and we talked about this a year ago. We talked about the importance, the economics, how much money and work and net worth that these immigrants bring to this country. The undocumented immigrants alone represent between 8 to 15% of our entire GDP. That's 8 to 15%. They build our buildings, they pave our roads, they pick our food, they wash our dishes, they cook our food, they take care of our kids, they mow our lawns, right? They do a lot of the base work for this entire economy. They pay into Social Security, they pay into Medicare and Medicaid. They don't get to benefit from any of it, right? And now, poof, they're gone. Welcome to food shortages. Welcome to construction projects idling. Welcome to, the contraction of 8 to 15% of our economy on top of that. Ninja loans are back. Subprime crisis 2.0 coming in hot. Yeah. Joshua Rooder, Houston. Subprime. Oh, yeah, it's a different one. Bitcoin. Houston, prediction was China had about 10 years to collapse, but Trump accelerated that So in a few years, will China go to war, lashing out, looking to blame someone? China collapse won't come from anything the U.S. is doing right now. Exports are about 15% of their GDP. The United States is about 2% of their GDP with those exports. They can get around that. China's big problem is going to be population decline. There's a middle rung of their society in the youth who can't afford to have dates, can't make kids, don't want kids, are basically societally asexual because they just have no hope for themselves. And so they like play games all day long and tell their family looking for jobs, but there are no jobs for them to have. So there's a big chunk of the Chinese economy that is not producing children. And if they don't have a replacement rate, there's no market growth for them to move into. And eventually, the real estate bubble they had that popped is going to continue to pop and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink as populations basically get concentrated in a few major cities, with rural areas probably being dominated by industrial farming, kind of like the U.S. And the contraction is going to happen. So I think China is expected by 2050 to have their population to be down to about 600 million. So that's pretty fast. That's almost a 50% population loss over the next 25 years. That's pretty substantial. But a lot of places in the world are going to be suffering from the same things. The United States will, without having immigrants replacing our dwindling population, because people here can't afford to have kids. They're not doing it. They have no incentive. Like, why would I bring a child into this world? I can't afford it. The global warming, guns, they're like, I'm not going to do it. It's irresponsible for me to bring a child in the world. And then we kick all the immigrants out. Well, there goes our population growth. We're going to shrink just like them, which means our economy is going to contract. Japan's economy is contracting. Europe, same thing. We're going to be in the same boat. Yeah, China may try to lash out. U.S. will probably lash out. Everyone will lash out. They're going to try to blame each other for everything. And in the end, it's everyone's doing. They did it to themselves. So, water. But hey, pollution will go down a lot. Your old pal Mosy. How many zombie 6-year-olds would it take to finally overpower a grown and reasonable fit male? Shuffle zombies, not runners. I mean, if it comes down to a bite, right? Because if a zombie bite, you get the zombie virus, and then you quickly become a zombie yourself. To go without receiving a bite is going to be extremely difficult. Because while you're just punting these 6-year-olds like they're footballs, right? Kicking them in the head, you still will get exhausted without having the opportunity to crush their little brains, right? So you're going to need a weapon. You're going to need a spade, Shallon spade, sledgehammer, something to just mush brains. And you're going to tire. They won't. They don't. The shuffling zombies don't tire. They just keep coming, and you break bones. They'll just come at you like slugs. So, I think if you get in the range of 10 or more zombie 6-year-olds, a grown man will get bit somewhere in there, and then it's over. Maybe he's wearing like a motorcycle outfit, and they can't break through the leather. It's different. If you had like a regular group of kindergartners, like a classroom of kindergartners, I think a grown adult male could absolutely just vaporize those kids, no problem. Because you're not worrying about, I got bit by one, right? You just you hit one hard enough, they're just gonna be crying. They're gonna be like, they're not gonna do anything. Zombie 6-year-old does not care. So I may have told this story before, but I was talking about it the other day because UB40's Red Red Wine came on. And every time I hear that song, all I think about is my friend Kelly in her epic fight she got in Hilo when UB40 came to do a show. So Kelly, beautiful, gorgeous, 6-foot buff, bronze, bitchin' pro surfer and National Park ranger. Gorgeous woman. Fit. She was dating this guy. And the guy she was dating kind of kept from her that he was married. She did not know. She was ignorant of the fact. She's like, oh, this guy loves me so much. He's so handsome and wonderful, and he's married. So she's at the UB40 concert with a friend of hers. And she goes to the restroom, and inside the restroom, she gets jumped by the man's wife. And she's a little Filipina, and about 30 of her cousins, sisters, aunties, etc. And Kelly has to go full berserker mode. She's literally fighting for her life because these women are trying to kill her. She does not know who these women are. She just knows she's getting attacked, right? And as this, 6 foot, 180 pound pro surfer girl who's very strong against a whole bunch of 4'10" Filipinas, she goes full gorilla. I'm talking like ankles, swinging women into walls, bouncing their heads off of toilet seats, ripping the hairdryer off and smashing them over the head, cracking their teeth on the sinks. Like, we're talking stall doors are smashed down, holes in the walls, broken windows, people screaming, blood everywhere. And Kelly, the 6 foot, 180 pound buff chiseled woman, beats the living hell out of 30 adult women, all on her lonesome. So, like, when people talk about, 100 men versus a gorilla, if the men don't have tools, that gorilla is ripping your arm sockets out and not even noticing when you punch it. He is ripping through all of you like your kindergartners. And I think about that. And if I ever make a movie someday, I think I'm going to have a fight scene at a UB40 concert that's just like that. By the time the police and security got there was 14 unconscious women, and Kelly just full berserker fighting for her life mode. And just absolutely one of the most epic things I've ever had recounted to me in my entire life. Even people that didn't know Kelly, who were at that concert, who I saw at school, they're like, dude, you should have seen this fight that happened in the women's restroom at the concert. It was insane. It was like Brock Lesnar versus a bunch of kindergartners. And that was, yeah. So if they're biting, getting back to zombies, I don't think a grown man can really take on that man. He might defeat them, but in the end he's going to lose because he'll get bitten. Ankle, arm, something. Scrapes a tooth, punches him in the face, tooth on the knuckle, that's it, they're done. So, yeah. Don't fuck around with zombies. That's how we go. Okay. Red wine. Donk. You just cinematic beauty. All right. You're up, Mosy, but typing's atrocious. That's okay. Louis throwing some stickers out there and telling him to hit the like button. Jason Blackwell says hello. Ronald Rose, live chat, not top chat. Oh, live chat. And I'm in multi-stream chat on the other side. So I think I've got it. Jason Blackwell Houston. My great aunt was a West Virginia coal miner. Then she moved to Las Vegas to be a prostitute. Same career, working a shaft. My grandfather was a gold miner. Yeah, and your grandmother worked in a brothel. Rose Moon. There was a fire right next to my apartment, and my kitty had to evacuate. She's not happy right now. Oh, man. Well, I hope everything's okay. And your apartment's fine. Yeah. Different line. Bad auction. Set it off. Oh, for the bonds? Yeah. No one wants our debt. So they're like, oh, we're putting an auction out there. And the people are like, just crickets. So the yields go up, hoping that somebody's going to buy it, and they're not. And we're going to spend so much of our federal dollars on facilitating the interest on these loans because the interest rates are not coming down, man. And if we have significant inflation as a result of these tariffs, there's going to be no cutting of any of these interest rates. And if they do cut interest rates, it won't matter because no one wants our debt. So the interest is still going to keep going up. So what happened is banks will borrow at a cheap amount and they'll put them into bonds, maybe. And there's not going to be any money going to people. They're going to be going through the economy. So we're just going to get stagflation. And that's it. Daphne's here. Hello. Peach Sunday, Houston. Spy put implied volatility is kind of low. Are you going to get any? Yes, but I have to wait for some money to clear my account first. I'm kind of pissed. I sent money. I deposited money on Monday, and then all of a sudden it got like sent back. It was like, oh, we couldn't process it because of the ACH problems that were happening earlier this week. So I was totally expecting to like be investing this week, and none of my instant deposits are going through because there's ACH problems like Monday and Tuesday. So I had to resend the money, and now I wait some more. Everything's so fucked up right now. Nothing works because they keep destroying everything so they can give a billionaire some more billions of dollars. Painting with Daphne also says, hit the like button. Aaron Salentine, the market for months. It's a fair talkland. Market today. How long have bonds been going up? Panic. It's over. Sell, sell, sell. Yeah. Girl Paul Mosy, happy birthday. Coupon day at Supercuts today. You got butchered, Mon Frere. I had the earmuffs on because the lawnmower is really loud. It's not that bad. I don't have too much. Years ago, I was working in this bar, and all these dudes kept coming in with just the most jacked up haircuts I may have ever seen in my life. Just man after man with just uneven patches, holes in the head, like goofy stuff. And finally, after like day 4 or 5, a friend of mine came in with just messed up hair. I was like, Troy, dude, what's with the haircut? He's like, oh man, there's this like smoking hot Russian chick at Great Clips. I've got my haircut 3 times this week. And apparently every man on the island was lining up to get an $8 haircut from this like very buxom Russian lady whose giant breasts would just like push all over their shoulders while she just destroyed their heads. And it lasted for quite a while. Then she disappeared and everyone went back to having normal haircuts again. But, maybe think of that. Aaron Salentine, why the heck is Bitcoin and crypto booming while the bonds go up and the stock market takes a fall? Should everything be collapsing? Then eventually, the derivatives market finally collapses as well. Get the everything squeeze. That's my prediction. Right now, I think gold and Bitcoin are going up because the value of the dollar is going down. So it takes more dollars to buy gold, takes more dollars to buy Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin at the moment can't be used as collateral for other plays in the market, except if you're going to do plays with other cryptocurrencies. When the market shits the bed, Bitcoin will shit the bed as well. Because they're going to have to sell off everything they have to cover their margin, to cover their collateral, to cover their capital requirements. So it's at all-time high right now. 109,000, touching close to 110. But if the market truly shits the bed because everyone's scared about these bonds, it's going to drop eventually as well. Because remember, it's that canary in the coal mine. When you see Sunday night, you see Bitcoin drop thousands and thousands and thousands Sunday night. You know they got to make up for something in the market on Monday morning. So just keep your eye on it. It's everyone's high-fiving right now, but all signs point to you at some point there. Alexander K, happy birthday, Houston. Why would the SEC want to get rid of the CAT system? Because it's costing too much money and not simply find the bad actors for all their FTDs the CAT system is catching. Because the bad actors want them to cancel the CAT system. And the bad actors run the SEC now under Atkins. So that's why. Andrew Stewart, Houston. What kind of equipment do I need to gem hunt in the Wyoming-Colorado border area? Depends on what you want to hunt for. There are basically 3 ways to do it. You can do the easiest way, which is go for a hike, look for some anthills. And in those anthills, you will find the ants will pull out gemstones and then lay them on their little hills. Because they're rocks. They're in their way. They want to make tunnels, and there's a rock in their way, so they pull a rock out, and they bring it up the top, they drop it, and it spills down the sides. So you can go and pick out gemstones, peridot, garnets, corundum, ruby sapphires, diamonds, things like that. And then you can also go ultraviolet hunting, so get a big old powerful ultraviolet flashlight and go out at night and go for walks and just shine the suckers. You'll find basically 1 of 3 things. You'll find scorpions. You'll find weird plants that fluoresce. Those are always cool. And you'll find gemstones like diamonds that will fluoresce. So that's a great way. You just point them in riverbeds, you point them all over the place, and you will find them. Boom, they'll pop up, and you just pick them up, take them on your way. And then the most efficient yet expensive way to do it is going to be setting up a sluice box or a dredge. So you can get a sluice box pretty cheap, $50. Set it in a river, start shoveling, right? Not very efficient, but more efficient than like going by hand. And you can also get a dredge, which costs you a few $1,000s, and you suck up the riverbed, which then shoots everything over a sluice box, and you'll get the gemstones that way. You can just set up riffles in the sluice box, just like you would with gold, like the slats, and the water flows over, makes a little pressure, and the heavy stuff falls out. You just change the pitch of your sluice box according to what density of material you're looking for. So pretty steep if you want gold, a little bit less steep if you want gemstones and things. Or if you're looking just for diamonds, you can take those riffles off entirely, coat the entire plate of the sluice box with like pig fat, Crisco, Vaseline, oily, fatty stuff. And the diamonds are hydrophobic, so they'll run over that thing and they will stick to that fat while everything else runs off. And then you scrape that fat off and you boil it in some water, and then it basically becomes soluble and all the diamonds will fall out. And then you take that fat after it cools and spread it back on your plate. So that's the things you can do. The good thing is, if you're in the right mountains where you're looking for things like rubies, sapphires, etc., you can leave the riffle boxes on, and you might get quite a bit of gold while you're looking for those gemstones. And then the idea is you go from those alluvial stuff that's broken off from the mountains and flowed down, and you follow it upstream, and eventually find the hard rock source for either those gems or the gold themselves. And then that's a whole other story. And then you need TNT and stuff to deal with a lot. But baby steps. There's a lot to be found in the Wyoming-Colorado border area of all those gemstones. So have fun. Lord Baca, I think Ryan bought Bitcoin at 71. I hope he did, because that's the local low. So if you bought at 71 with, let's see here. Let's see what the old calculator has to tell us. There we go. He has 1.5 billion. Divided by 71 means he's got 21,000 blah 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 Bitcoin, and now it's at 109. He's now sitting at 2.3 billion. So an $800 million profit in about a month isn't too shabby, right? So that's pretty good returns. So why not? Let's hope he did. Let's hope he bought it at 109 and not at 105. Or sorry, at 71, not 105. But he's still up if he did buy 105. So there's that. Don Z. Shadem is here. Hello. Big Z Zerp. Hey, Professor H. Word big liberal donors are looking for the Joe Rogan of the left. Throwing your hat in there. Sure, let's do it. I will gladly interview competent people and be like, wow, that's excellent. I'll also interview the incompetent people and then call them on their bullshit, unlike Joe Rogan. Where Joe Rogan's like, oh, it's crazy. Wow. Some guy's like, yeah, and then the lizard people, stuck their thing in my butt, and then they controlled my brain for 5 years, but I got out. Oh, well, that's crazy. And the earth is flat, and viruses aren't real, and my girlfriend, you don't know her, she lives in Canada. So that's basically Joe Rogan's guests, one after another, constantly. And sure, let's do it. Send the wealthy donors my way. Put me in a fancy studio with a producer and get me somebody who can book some guests. I'll do it, man. I will gladly do that. All right. Murph Studios had a 6:30 a.m. meeting today and 6:45 tomorrow. So over this shit. Yeah. On the West Coast, doing meetings with people on the East Coast think they're doing you a favor. Like, we'll set the meeting for 9:30 in the morning. That should be fine. And then you're like, why are you so bleary-eyed? Why aren't you talking? Yeah, I hate that. Off the Grid Heroes here. Hello. Matt James 306. Happy birthday. Do you like hockey? Do you know how to skate? I know how to skate. I've never played hockey in my entire life. I've watched it here and there. The hockey wasn't that big out here. It's starting to get there now that we have an NHL team. I have a cousin on one side who played very serious hockey up in Bellingham and managed to play some semi-pro in Canada. And then a cousin on the other side who went to the University of Maine and won a national championship and sadly went undrafted, but then became a professional hockey ref. He's reffing for AAA now, hoping to get the tap for NHL at some point. But he was one of the refs for the 2018 Olympics. I think he went to the 2022 Olympics as well. So yeah, he's a really good hockey player. Too bad he didn't get to go on from there, but he's, pro ref. He's making a living at it, so good for him. I like hockey movies. I enjoy watching hockey. Shorzy is hilarious, but I don't really pay attention to it. So the Kraken games have been ridiculously expensive to go to, so I haven't gone any Kraken games. I watched a couple on TV. That's about it. Big Z Zerp, Houston. We're making trillions from tariffs. We negotiate them down. China's eating them, but then we tell Walmart to eat them. And Qatar will invest $5.1 trillion in the U.S. with GDP of $200 billion. Yeah. Exactly. Yes, the cognitive dissonance is very real in all this. Qatar is $200 billion a year. Somehow they're going to invest trillions into our country. They made these promises in 2019. Trump went over there, did this thing in Saudi Arabia. They touched the orb and they did all these things. He always promises they're going to invest trillions, and then it never happened. So, take those promises with a grain of salt. What will happen is they'll put a few $1 million here and there into the pockets of some key individuals in the government, and that's as far as it will go. Because that's way cheaper than actually investing. Like, why would you invest trillions of dollars you don't have into a shrinking economy when you can just glad hand the president and give him a jet no one wants, and he'll be like putty in your hands after that. Yeah. Glennis Houston is always on point. I try. Oh, Belgian whale. Sorry, I didn't see your green chat here. I spent a couple hours on a beach in South Crete, Greece, looking for pretty little rocks today. Could make a career out of this. Isn't it a nice time spent? Like, what will happen is that you'll get hunched over and you'll have to worry about that. So then when you're done looking at the rocks and you're hunched over all day long, you go back to the hotel and you get a massage. Some strong woman with large hands, works on her neck. And then she's like, hey, go sit in the hot tub. She's like, oh, crap. Go sit in the hot tub. And then you have to go eat a fine meal at the hotel restaurant and do it all again the next day. So that's the way you keep your neck from hurting too much and looking like a hunched over fool. Is going to be all the ridiculous massages you get at the hotel. Just mammy, but we're all getting Doge checks, Houston. That's true. They're in the mail. Have you guys noticed that Elon has suddenly become persona non grata in the Republican Party? They want nothing to do with him. They realize he's a giant toxic brand. Like, the Elon fanboys are like, Elon's the best ever. And then they know that across the entire world, people are basically boycotting Tesla and destroying Tesla dealerships. And, Tesla's going to be basically uninsurable. And the Republicans won't touch him anymore. After like, hey, give us so much money, he can do all these things, he's so hip and cool. And they're like, we want fucking nothing to do with this weirdo. He is toxic. And all of a sudden, Elon's going back to Tesla. And the interviews he gave, oh, man. You could tell he is an angry man. He is. I mean, you have to really fuck up your life to be worth $400 billion and to be that angry. Like, you won't see Richard Branson out there angry. He's like, life is great. I'm loving this. I just went kiteboarding with a naked model on my back. Like, he is living life, doing his thing, working on cool projects, happy as a clam. Elon is more angry than any human being alive, and he has everything. Because he knows he's a shitty little fuck. And that's... There he is. So they're asking him, like, are you at Tesla because you love it, or are you there because of the pay program? And he's like, the pay program. They got to give me $100 billion, or else I'm not doing this. Tesla probably shouldn't give him $100 billion because He's an anchor and chain weighing you down at this point. If Tesla wants to be saved, they got to cut that dude loose and not let him get a restraining order against him and be like, you're toxic. And then maybe people might forgive him. But right now, that forgiveness isn't coming. And he's given everyone this promise that the driverless robo-taxis will be hitting the streets in Austin soon. Here's the thing. Those driverless taxis are going to get the shit beat out of them. People will take tire irons to them. They'll hit them with eggs. They'll cover up their cameras with spray paint. They'll release fart spray inside the cars. They will light incendiaries and burn the cars down. They will do all sorts of crap to those things, and they will become uninsurable and not allowed on the roads. That's how much people hate this man. They will destroy every single solitary one of those cars I see on the road. And we'll see a whole bunch of video footage of like blurry faces with a Molotov cocktail launching in, or, ski mask or whatever. And no one's going to turn those folks in. Can you identify this person? Everyone's like, if I knew who it was, I still wouldn't tell you. Because that's where the public sentiment is. He is a toxic brand. And watching Tesla die brings people joy. And I can't yuck that yum, I'll be honest. So, yeah. So, just wait for it. There'll be news reports about these Tesla cars. And what will happen is that Tesla's then going to have to hire security to follow the cars around to make sure they don't get hit, which defeats the entire purpose of having a driverless car if you've got like a security detail and a Tahoe following behind it, right? Because now, rather than paying a driver, you're paying like 4 dudes $200,000 a year to follow this car around to hopefully bust the one person who's destroying the car. But the thing is, it's everybody who's destroying it. So you're gonna have to arrest everybody, and that's just not going to work because it just isn't. So yeah, that's the future. Will be publicly joyous destruction of property and everyone high-fiving each other afterwards, and then not ratting on anybody. Frozen State Productions. What difference does it make if someone buys 18 million in GME if it goes to the dark pools? Price is affected, is it? I guess that's kind of true, right? Unless it is backroom deals to be like, hey, I need this 18 million, and it's institutional buyers buying it. Because remember, if we look at Morningstar, let's look at Morningstar here. Morningstar GME. Let's take a look-see, and let's see what the institutional holdings currently are. Okay, Chrome. Turn that on. Boom. That's what I want. Here we go. Okay, here's Morningstar. In 2021, ownership. Bam. This ownership was at 151%. Just the top 20 was 151% of total outstanding shares. So right now, we got iShares and Vanguards right here, right, at 48 million. So that's a little more than 10% of all holdings just in funds. Institutions, on the other hand, and they'll give us the top 5 here. We've got 100 million between Vanguard, Blackwell, State Street, Geode Capital, Citadel. So, look at Citadel's got 3 million here. They're going, uh-oh. We have another 20%. So we got 30% holdings, basically, by institutions alone. That's pretty big deal, because remember, between Ryan Cohen and Roaring Kitty, that's another 15%, so we're at 45%, which means 55% ownership by retail. Way more than that, right? Here we go. All right, here's the bigger list. All right, institutions, we're at 128 million. So 28.76 held by institutions, and funds 71 million. So 16.7. So that's 40%, plus the 15 by Ryan and Roaring Kitty. We're at 55. So that means 45% owned by retail. You think retail only owns 45% of this thing? Retail owns 400% of this thing. And this is just the top 20. There's more. There's more that's not even listed here. These are basically the guys who have about 1 million shares each or more. And there's a lot more than that. So I wouldn't doubt if we get an update at some point where this thing starts to look like 2021, where we're at 100% or more owned by institutions, and then it's unavoidable squeeze time after that. You do not want to be on the short side of any of this. So I guess iShares has sold off quite a few, but 42,000, that's not really that much. But yeah, so Hazel, hey, Houston. Funny how the president of South Africa said, he didn't know there was white genocide going on. Yeah, this is like, imagine the president, like Donald Trump goes and visits, I don't know, Belgium. And the prime minister of Belgium or the crown prince or whatever sits Trump down and he's like, did you know about Pizzagate? There is a pizza restaurant in D.C. that's trafficking children in their basement. And Sasquatch was there. And Sasquatch, along with Ogopogo, it's Canadian, you know, they're trafficking kids and they're sending them off to Saudi Arabia to be molested by Ukrainians. And that's basically what Trump did with the president of South Africa, is that he told him a completely harebrained conspiracy theory that's not at all true. And the president of South Africa was like, and he had to sit there and take it because it's, you know, the most powerful man in the world, blah, blah, blah. And one of these days, there's going to be a world leader who's had enough. And they're going to tell him to his face to shut the fuck up. He's out of his element. And Trump's not going to like that very much. He's going to lose his shit because he doesn't know how to respond otherwise. He's got to look like the big man who's big and scary, and they're just not going to be scared of him. They're going to, you know, all it takes. This. Let's say Trump's meeting with a foreign leader, and that foreign leader could be from a tiny country. It doesn't have to be a big country. Tiny country who's just had enough of his shit. Maybe a EU country, maybe someone else. And Trump is just blah, 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 blah. Pausing the conversation rather than addressing whatever it is that Trump's talking about. Be like, that's not actually true. This leader just says, you paint yourself orange, you wear a girdle, I can smell your diapers, and you've got lifts on. What's your problem? That's all I have to say. Something simple like that. And Trump will have a complete narcissistic meltdown that could never be matched. It will be the most glorious 20 minutes of television you'll ever watch in your entire life. So that's basically what you gotta do. So, excuse me. All right. Where am I? Where's my South Africa question? That was there. All right. Muley McWoolhead. I swear I came up with how many 7-year-olds to the death once, like 20 years ago. We used to chat about random stuff when I was in the military on our network chat while we were working. Let's get the Freedom of Information Act request on that one. The military be forced to go through your old chats and send it to us. Frozen Productions. Oh, I got an email concerning my Doge check from Nigeria. It's on the way with a simple transfer fee. Oh, perfect. Excellent. Good job. See, I knew it was coming. I knew it was. And Galana says, I'm glad I could put that debate to rest at a UB40 concert. Zombies equal glue traps. That's pretty good. Yeah. And just pull you down. And you can struggle and struggle and struggle. And then eventually you just become one with the glue trap. I like that. I like that analogy. Ron Rose, UB40 bathroom scene done by Tarantino. Laughing. Busy Zerp Houston. If the yen goes to gold, wear toast. Everywhere. I mean, weird toast. Glennis, have you ever seen a mountain lion on any adventures? I've seen 2 mountain lions in the wild. The first was the gnarliest one. I was in, I'll bring up Google Earth here. Boop. Boop. And, oh, there's Google Earth. Okay. So I got to leave the modern confines here of New York City. We got to go to Nevada. We got to go to the Carson Sink in Nevada. Carson Sink. Here we go. There's Shanghai Canyon and Shady Run Canyon, and I think somewhere along here. Let's see here. Let's see if we can do Shady Run Canyon. Search. Whoa, 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 whoa. Nope. That's a different... Oh, no. Wait. Was that the Carson Sink before? Oh, it's Black Rock Desert. Yeah, it's Carson Sink. Okay. Shady Run. Shady Run Canyon. This guy here. And then Shanghai Canyon, I believe, is this one. Right? Yeah, I think this is Shanghai. So, unless it was the other way around. What's this one? That's a Big Elk. Shady Run. I believe this is Shanghai. Fonda Way. Where's Shanghai Canyon? This is where the mine is? This one might be it. Anyway, I was in this canyon, and there is a little gold mine right about Mia. And I was going through metal detecting to see if I could find anything, and I wasn't finding anything. But my truck is parked out here, and I'm sitting on the bed of my truck, and I'm eating Cheerios. It's like 7 in the morning. Sun's been up for a little bit, and I'm eating Cheerios. The back of my truck is facing north. I'm parked probably just right in here somewhere. And I see out of my eyes, there's like wild horses and wild donkeys all over the place out here. And something comes running out of, I think it's this canyon. This might be Shanghai Canyon here. If it's not this next one up. I don't think it was that close. I think it was this one. And a mountain lion came running out of this canyon and full on tackled a donkey and just destroyed it. The donkey made horrible screaming sounds across the desert here. And I watched that cougar murder this thing that was probably 400 or 500 pounds and then slowly drag its ass back into the canyon. At that point, I never turned my back on my own canyon. At that point, I was like, my eyes are wild. My ears, I wasn't even wearing my headphones for my metal detector. I put a speaker on so that I could listen to other things in case there was something, running up the rocks to kill me. That was my first mountain lion in the wild experience. My second one was in Utah. I was driving, so we got to go to down here, Beaver, Richfield, Boulder, Escalante, Tropic. Okay, there's Tropic. So the road between Tropic and to get to where my brother was living in Boulder, which is up yonder, there's a river. Is it this river? Yeah, I think it's this river here. And on one of these turns, and two weird things happened. I was on a big bend in the river. So if it is this river, shit. Now I can't remember if it's that river. I want to go from Tropic to Boulder, Escalante. So I get through Escalante to Boulder. So maybe it's this here. Maybe it's this guy. Yeah, it might be this guy. At any rate, one of these rivers here. I think it might be this guy. I'm driving along the highway, and it's kind of getting to be a little dusky. Like the sun's maybe set, so the colors are kind of disappearing. And running across the road, I was like, oh shit, a deer. But then this tail just kept going with it. I was like, oh crap, that's a mountain lion. And I got to some spot, big turn. Maybe this turn here, or maybe this turn here. Let's say it's this guy. And pulled off on the side of the road is like this red Ford Focus rental car. There's a chubby little short man in like a 3-piece suit with what looks like a 50 caliber sniper rifle, just standing next to his car. And all I can think is I'm going this way up the highway, is that I'm going to take this turn and my head's going to explode in a red mist because some weirdo in a rental car in a 3-piece suit decides to snipe me as a moving target. So I drove that entire corner basically not looking out the window. This is like a minute after seeing a cougar run across the road. It might have been that turn. It could very well have been. But yeah, that was interesting, like 60 seconds of my life. Those are the two I've seen in the wild. I know there've been others out there because that's just the way, like they'll stalk you and you will never know it. It's always good to have a dog with you, right? Because the dog will make noise and then the cougar's like, "Rah!" And they'll fuck off. One was spotted just up the street from me. So yesterday, someone posted about it. So they'll show up on the island every once in a while, but for the highway, Hidden Cove Road to the highway. So this guy here. So multiple witnesses saw a cougar run across the highway right here yesterday. So they're out there. There's been a couple of bears spotted up here. I did run over what I thought might have been bear scat in the yard with a lawnmower today. A couple years ago, there was a spat of like the trash cans all getting ripped up, all my neighbors, but they didn't attack my trash can for some reason, probably because the dog was in the yard all the time. But they'll swim over, have a bunch of fun, eat all the berries, they'll swim back across and go back to the big forests out here. I have a neighbor or a coworker that lived in Indianola, this place here, and he's got a house. It's somewhere up. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong way. Over here. Sorry, Indianola. Somewhere up in here. And there's a trail that goes from his house through the forest to a friend's house. That's where they have their band practice. And he said one night he went over, walked through the forest, went to band practice, walked back and heard a twig snap and turned around. And there was like a cougar that was maybe 100 feet from him just stalking him. So he turned around and walked backwards for like half a mile to get back to his house. And the cougar just followed him the entire time, all the way up. He's walking up his porch and into the door. And the cougar was like, oh well, and then walked off. They're out here. They do stuff. If you ever get attacked by a cougar, fight for your life because it will kill you. That's basically nothing you can do except fight for your life. You're going to have to choke it, kill it, chomp it, try to snap its little neck, break its bones, do whatever you can. They're freakishly strong. They've got very large muscles. The strength-weight ratio is insane. So if a cougar is attacking you, you fight for your life. There's nothing else you can do. And fight dirty. Go for the eyes. Go for the ear holes. Punch it in the hoo-ha. Right, monkey? You know how to fight dirty. Yes, you do. Are you telling me that I need to give you a TREAT? Is that what you're telling me? Am I mentioning your nemesis cougar too much? Now you want to defeat a figure? Okay. All right, buddy. There you go. That's a big one. Look how big that is. Hey, you want it? There you go. Kitty, you can want this all you want, but you'll never eat it. It'll just sit there forever. So, deal, fat boy. All right. Boom. How many more we got here? Where are we? We are at... I lost the cougar one. There it is. All right. Here in Salentine, Houston, there should be a NASDAQ rule that says when a stock hits a penny, a short position, a real, or a naked, has to be closed right away. Yeah, I like it. Basically making it so that stocks can't go below a penny, or if they do, you can't open a short on a penny stock. Yeah, you must go close it. I like that. That's something we could add to the. That way, all short positions have to get taxed at some point. Right? Because the big thing is with the naked shorting is you naked short it, and if the company goes out of business, you never actually close your position and you never get taxed on the gains. So that's a great way to force a tax on all those shorts. I like it. That's a good one. Good job. Yes. I like it, Aaron. And what do you think was rolling fixed stock settlement? No, I dig it. Jeannie, your cousin of Shorzy. Shut up, you fucking loser. Yeah. He's not Shorzy. He's from New Jersey. Barry's Bit, non-residents that own property in Canada pay almost double the taxes. Needs to be more. Needs to be insanely more. You need to be making money as a government off those folks to a serious end. Make it 4 times as much, 5 times as much. Make it 100% tax on the property every year, something like that. Big Z Zerp Houston, where do you think SPX will bottom? Look at it. Let's look at it. Boom. Let's go there. Do SPX twice. Okay. Well, we oops, that's still Google Earth. We bottomed originally at like what, 481 intraday, something like that. Would have been here. Boink. The SPY was at 4,900. I think the SP 500 was at 4,900. The SPY was at 481, I believe, where it bottomed out intraday and then it did its bounce back. I think it can go below that. So if we go look at the SPY is a better measure for me to look at than anything else. Here we go, right there. So this saying 505, but intraday it was 481. Yeah, see 52 week low, 481.81. I think if the comeuppance come, meaning residential real estate is vaporized, commercial real estate is vaporized, realizing those losses on a grand scale, natural disasters hit and we don't do anything about it because we've fired everyone who could do anything about it. People die. Oil rigs are getting ripped up out of the Gulf of Mexico by storms. Environmental disasters. Tariffs are causing runaway inflation. Our bond yields keep skyrocketing. We do not pass a decent budget resolution or budget bill, or we don't raise the debt ceiling. Like bird flu starts transmitting person to person. Like this thing could easily go to 200, 250, somewhere in there. We're talking like 50% or more loss on the SPY. Easy. This is all fluff and bubble. And we're running out of money. And it's just a giant fluffy, there's no density at all to any of this market at the moment. It's all fluff. So yeah, I think this sucker can fall off a cliff much further than it has. This is barely a correction at this point for just how much bad things are about to happen. And you're looking at states like Texas losing a huge amount of money because they're going to be capping wells because oil prices are dropping because the entire global economy is going. War breaks out, in more Gulf nations, Israel attacks Iran, etc. Then that might save the oil industry for a bit, but the rest of the economy won't come back after it. Yeah. This is all like, oh my god, everything's going to shit. Well, maybe it's not going to shit. Nope, it's going to shit. And that's where we are. Boom. Okay. Don't see your shade 'em. Reminder, short Tesla ETFs, TLSZ, TLSQ, TLSLS, TSDD. I'm currently bag holding. Help me out. F Tesla, good night, bedtime. Well, good night. Yeah, I mean, Elon will make all his promises and the stock will go up, but then he won't deliver. And by this time next year, he'll be back right down. He'll tell some more lies and it'll come back up again. In the meantime, the company will just be contracting the entire time. Genie, the only way Tesla as a brand comes back is if they pillory Musk and let you throw rotten veggies as a buying incentive. Seriously, who's buying Teslas anywhere in 2025? No one. 800 billion per year. Deficit? Medicaid? Not sure which one that's referencing. Yeah. Shaney, also, I'm in Austin, and Waymo is already going, and they are doing all right. See them all the time. He's coming into a market that already has an established player that isn't toxic as fuck. Yeah. People will take Waymos over Teslas. And, yeah. I mean, just, if you see a Tesla cab, just tape a MAGA hat to its roof. And then just drive around in ultra-liberal Austin. Don't see shade him. Shane, the poor Republican Cincinnati who can't afford Teslas are buying Teslas. That should doom everybody. Shaney, valid. I asked the question on who's buying them because I'm genuinely curious. OO says they're buying Toyota trucks. Shaney, I still have a few Tesla Z. I think when the next earnings comes out, that'll print. I think so too. Don Miller wants to know when Lambo. He's not asking when Tesla. He's asking when Lambo. Notice that. They're all over at night in Boulder. 10,000 feet. Cougars? Yeah. Cougar Cubs. Okay. Do I have... All right. I have to look and see if there's any Twitch chats, which I don't think there are any Twitch chats in here. Okay. No one's watching on Twitch. Good to know. Shady, my money is on President of Mexico doing that. Houston, I think she is. She'll wear chalice for the occasion. Rise to the occasion. Challenge for the occasion. She might wear chalice for the occasion. She might wear chalice. Wear chalice? She might. I'm just going to assume he's saying she will rise to the occasion. Oh, yeah. Scheinbaum doesn't really seem to give a rip. The great thing about Mexican politics is the president's only president for, 5-6 years, and that's it. They can never run again. They never run for election. So you're just there to do your job and get out. And so she does not care about re-election. She does not care about any of that stuff. She doesn't care about... She just wants to do her job, and she's sick of stupid men. That seems to be very much... She's like, these stupid men. Have any of you watched The Residence yet on Netflix? I don't know the woman's name who plays the main character, plays Detective Cup. She's brilliant. And her dry pan delivery of everything is just so funny. But in the first episode, she's like, another stupid man. There's so many stupid men here. Why are there so many stupid men? And it's true. There's a lot of mediocre dudes in a lot of positions of power. And when you have somebody that's insanely competent, they're just like, I have to deal with this. It's so frustrating. Because yes, it is frustrating. Hank next door in Boulder is filled with pictures of them from ring cams. I can imagine. Vicious as fuck. Yep. Glennis, wow. Great stories. I spooked either a cougar or a bobcat in the Sierras this weekend, and it growled at me, but didn't follow, so I never heard it. Never saw it. That's also as terrifying as to hear one and know it's like right there. And it's probably been watching you the entire time. Says, I saw a guy beat a mountain lion. A mountain lion. Was it Lyon, France? Dylan Miller. What's up with the leaderboard? I don't remember that being a thing. It is new. It appeared this week. YouTube is making it. And it seems to be number 1 right now. Yeah. What happened to sell in May and go away? Yeah, everyone's no one can afford vacations, so no one's going away right now. Chill face, 200 people watching, 45 likes. Yeah, I can't really see the likes here. They don't really show me that. They show me how many are currently watching, how many people have watched, average duration, super chats. Chat rate is 2. I don't even know what that means. Is that 2 chats per minute or something? But we got 400 million without a plane. Yeah. Chill face, I think Shane E. Said the president might wear chanclas for the occasion. Okay. Yes. Hazel A. Got $400 million plane is already here, and we have to pay to have it taken apart and put back together again. It's the cheapest $400 million plane ever. We're only going to spend $1 billion dismantling it and rebuilding it when we can just order one for less than $1 billion. Brand new. Sweet. And basically, there was an article in Aviation Week from like 5-6 years ago when they started trying to sell this thing. And I guess 5 years ago in 2020 when Cotter was trying to sell this thing. And Aviation Week was like, there's no market for a luxury 747. Like, no one needs it. A head of state could use it, but a head of state already has a plane, and there's no one's going to want to spend $400 million on a new plane at this point, because maybe the United States would want a 747, but they already have Air Force One, they're already contract for one, so there's no reason. So what's going to happen is, who are they going to give it to? Dun, 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 dun. 5 years later, they're giving it to Trump. And basically they get, fealty from the most powerful man in the world, for a plane they didn't want anyway, and they can't sell to anyone. So, and Citizen 54, Houston, oh, what you mean? No more hepatitis testing. They shut down the lab? Yeah, there's one lab at the National Institute for Health that tests for hepatitis for the entire nation. So if a health department thinks, I might have a hepatitis outbreak, and they take a sample from someone or from something, they package that up, they ship it to the National Institute of Health, and I believe in Bethesda, where they then test it and say, yes, That is hepatitis A, B, C, etc. The Health and Human Services shut down that lab. And not only that, it's the only lab on Earth that does it. So if they think there's a hepatitis outbreak in Germany, in the UK, in Japan, wherever, they package it up, send it to that lab. It's the only lab that tests for it on the planet. So yeah, and they shut that down. Thank you, RFK. So if everyone's eyes turn yellow with jaundice and their livers fall out, thank RFK Jr. for that. Yeah. 300 million for golf course for Golden Dome. I don't necessarily know what that means. Joe Face, sorry I'm late. Did the Japan carry trades break the market today, or was that just regular old Trump breaking the market today? It wasn't the Japan carry trades. It was the bond market auction and realizing that no one wants our bonds that broke the market. So, Hank, what are some of your favorite documentaries? Hype, which came out in the late 90s about the grunge scene. Brilliant documentary. And speaking of music documentaries, Dig was a pretty good music documentary. That's about the Dandy Warhols and Brian Jonestown massacre, like 2004, 2005. They followed them around the world for concerts, and pretty interesting documentary. Nature documentary wise, like the Planet Earth ones are spectacular. I love the original docuseries of Cosmos. That one goes all over the place through like religion, and it's just brilliant. I talked about the Dirty Money docuseries on Netflix. That one's really good. Also, Pandemic is a brilliant docuseries on Netflix. That came out like literally a month before the pandemic happened. So if you want an idea of what the state of epidemiological research, virology, immunology, and prevention and pandemic reaction was before Trump fired everybody. Everyone they interviewed in that documentary about, hey, this is my job with US AID, and this is my job with the health department, those people were all fired before the documentary came out. So when you watch that documentary, you're like, oh man, we're prepared for this. And it turns out, no, all the people who were prepared were fired by Trump in 2018, 2019, and they don't have jobs anymore. And then the pandemic hit a month later, and we were not prepared at all as a nation. So that, that's a pretty phenomenal docuseries. What other ones do I really like? The Roger and Me one was very profound from, what's his butt? You know his name. He then went make Katie and Bacon about a whole bunch of other documentaries, and that people hate his guts, but other people are like, no, he's all right. Name's escaping me, monkey. One of his books is right over there. Where is it? Why is my brain not thinking of names? Why am I having a stroke? Monkey. Where are you? No. Michael Moore. Why can't I think of that? Michael Moore, Roger and Me, about basically General Motors gutting Flint, Michigan, and sending the work to Mexico. This is pre-NAFTA as well, but it's pretty. Yes, Michael Moore. So yeah, it's a pretty profound documentary, and shows you what the deindustrialization of America during the 1980s was like, and what the effects were, and how while we deindustrialized, we didn't really provide any real replacement for those folks to enter the service economy that we were creating. Don't you go up there, man. You want drugs? Is that what you want? Here. There. Take those drugs. Yeah. Blood all over the place. Snort lines. Do whatever it is you do. There you go. Get high. Yeah. Okay. 7:50. Almost 8 o'clock. I'll go another 9 minutes and I'm going to run away for the day. Okay. King Jong-moon. Because everyone regularly gets tested for hep. Lol. Yeah. Well, I think getting a blood test for hep is different than getting samples from things tested for hep. Yeah. The smashing machine? It's a big, beautiful bill. Smells like manure. Chill face. Also, habeas corpus is the constitutional right for the president to remove people from the country. Christy Nome. Oh, my God. Yeah. And the senator was like, wrong. Yeah, habeas corpus is your constitutional right to challenge why you're being detained and held by the government. It guarantees you your day in court. Christy Nome, it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to be removed from the country for no reason. Anyway. Joe Face. Oh, I did that one. Ron Rose, Moscow drone attack, false flag, or real? Well, I know that there was a whole bunch. I saw earlier that a whole bunch got launched. Moscow drone attacks. There was a map showing all the attacks hitting. Drone attacks, halt flights at Moscow airports. There was a huge attack from Moscow into Ukraine the other day. So air traffic around Moscow disrupted on Thursday as the Russian capital came under heavy drone attack. The city's mayor and civil aviation authority said Russia's intercepted 23 drones flying towards Moscow since midnight. Emergency services specialists are working on the site. Fallen debris. Attack came a day after 27 drones were launched towards the city. Blah, blah, blah. Plane's been grounded. Nothing about anything landing. So that's I prefer to see things blowing up in Moscow than anything else. News. Flight disruptions. Putin humiliated a Russian drone attack, shut down airports. Ukrainian drones targeting Russian semiconductor plant and disrupted near Moscow. Okay, well there you go. So I don't think it's false flags. I think genuinely Ukraine is launching as many drones as they can towards and in and around Moscow. So you launch the drones, you launch them by the hundreds, and you start wearing out the munitions of their anti-aircraft. Dude, you already have so much drugs right here. You don't need to get any more. Here, I'll brush into a big pile for you. I'll brush into a pile, and then you can see just how much drugs you have. Yeah, look at that. Look at all those drugs. Look at all the drugs. Don't bite my hand. The hand is putting the drugs into a pile. No, don't bite. Look at that. No, don't bite. Right there. See? You're high and you're bitey. Look at that. Do you want me to shove it inside your nose? You want me to take this? Oh, here. I'll take it all. Put it in my hand. And I'm going to rub it in your face. Take that. Take that. Take it in your face. Rub it in your face. Yeah. And I covered in it. How you like that? Huh? Do you like that? It's in your face. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, war is war, man. If you don't like drones flying into your capital, get your ass out of Ukraine. Joe Face, you get 25 XP per comment. How many until I'm rich? Yeah, the whole gamification of the chat. I don't know if it's working or not. Frenzy Production is a 6-part documentary on the Beatles with Paul McCartney and Rick Rubin is excellent also. Noted, I've never seen it. Since before I used to work public health, we had a Hep A outbreak in the area. It took years to track everyone down without testing. They'll just stop tracking it. Public health ordinance is barely enforceable as it is. Yeah. Okay. All right. Did I get to the end of the chat here? Same with oysters and logging in Oregon. Oysters and logging in Oregon. I don't know what that is in relation to. Oysters and logging in Oregon. I don't know. Anyone else got anything for me? Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow for a show at normal afternoon time, right? 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 East Coast. The cat will probably want to get high again for that. He's currently now staring off into space with pupils the size of dinner saucers. So anyway, I want you folks to have a great day. Let's see where things go. Hopefully my stupid money clears in my account and I can do some fun plays for the week. Until then, I just got to twiddle my thumbs. If anything, I want to be able to at least do a straddle strategy for Friday before close. Because, man, normally this thing swings 10 to 15 bucks over the weekend. And a straddle strategy could net a few grand. And that's, who doesn't like that? Anyway. We're talking about no work. Yes, in those towns. Yes. Okay, yes. Noted. Same thing with Flint, Michigan. Yeah. Timber Towns, like Forks, Washington, was an absolute desolate shithole until the Twilight series made it so a whole bunch of divorced women in their 30s came out in bus tours to wander around what was a shitty little logging town. So everyone just needs to have their own Twilight series written about their shitty little logging towns, and then everyone will be doing fine. Anyway, you folks, have a great night. I will see you tomorrow. Kitty cat, ready to hit the intro button? Ready? Here we go. Bonk. Here it went. It's going. What do you think about that? The cat rump right there. Oh, someone slapping your rump? You like that? You like your rump getting slapped? Is that fantastic? Oh.